Robert Plank Show, episode 393, Facebook live streaming. Build your audience, land sales, and become a thought leader with zero effort. Hey everyone, this is Robert Plank. My website is videosalestactics.com, and we're talking to you today about this thing called Facebook live streaming. I'm hoping that you've seen this. I'm hoping this is still around by the time maybe you're listening to this years later. Facebook has this thing where you log into Facebook, you see your newsfeed, you see what people have posted, right? And even a few years ago, you'd go to Facebook and all it was text. People would just, post like a quick status update, things like that. And then after a while, they added in images. And after a while, they added in videos. And the frontier is live video. So you scroll through Facebook and you see, people posted some text updates, some links, they reshared some stuff, whatever. But then you see, oh, Robert Plank is live now. What's he talking about? What's he doing? I need to click and see. I've seen so many news outlets make a really great use of this. If there's some natural disaster or, some kind of live event happening, a parade, whatever, they will live stream that kind of thing. And I'm sure that if you've seen this, maybe you've been a little jealous or a little envious about people live streaming. Facebook really wants everyone to live stream, and so they give live streams the most boost, the most views on the internet. And just the fact that you're live streaming makes sure that people notice more of who you are. It's really easy, especially since we're all sort of behind the computer with this internet marketing stuff. It's easy for people to forget you exist, to forget that you're still around, to forget or not even notice what it is that you're offering. And so many times, there's been so many courses and products and things like that I've bought over the years where what got me to buy was one final little push, one final just reminder that this offer was out there. And that's the same reason why I have this podcast, the same reason why I have this podcast going consistently is because I have an email list, right? And an email list is basically someone buys from me. Now they're one of my email subscribers, or they claim something for free. Now I can send emails to them unless they opt out, unless they unsubscribe. And I send an email, I link to something to buy, I explain why that's an important offer. Great, they go and buy. But if you're like a lot of people, you get hundreds and hundreds of messages like that per day. And sometimes you might unsubscribe from a few lists, especially if it's a list where you haven't bought in a while, you haven't clicked in a while, you haven't listened, you haven't just paid much attention to that person in a while. And I've noticed that I myself will sometimes unofficially unsubscribe from a marketer. And I don't even know if this is a thing or not, but if there's a marketer where if I haven't bought from them in a couple of years, then eventually I start asking myself, well, why am I even reading their emails? And then I'll even click on their emails and I won't get much, and I'll kind of stop even opening their emails. And it'll get to the point where I'll just delete their email as soon as it comes in. Or I see all we all wake up to hundreds of emails, right? And I know that I'm only going to need to look at 4 or 5 of those. So I go and I delete a bunch of messages. By the way, here's a quick tip for you. I love Gmail. I think it's the best email tool out there ever. If you have a lot of messages you want to delete, you can click on a checkbox of one of those messages, then hold down your shift key and maybe go down 10 messages and check the checkbox under that, and all the messages in between will be checked. I think that's a huge time saver when it comes to cleaning up your email inbox. So there are marketers where I've either unsubscribed from them or I've unofficially unsubscribed, which means that I'm still on their list, but I haven't opened a message in months and months. But I've noticed that even if I don't read a marketer's emails anymore, if I'm subscribed to their podcast, that's a way for me to stay in touch. If they run Facebook live streams, that's another way for me to just stay on track of what they're listening to or what they're doing. And there have definitely been many times when I would have unsubscribed from their list. They would have lost me forever. But because of the podcast and because of the Facebook Live, I still hear from them. and I still buy from them. I've bought from marketers even when I was off their list because of a Facebook live stream or because of a podcast. And so people always talk about all these cheesy, goofy things when it comes to live streaming on Facebook, when it comes to showing your face and saying some stuff right that second. People always say things like, oh, you can answer your customers' questions, or they see that it's a real person behind the screen. I mean, I guess all that sort of stuff is good, but it irritates me because you can't accurately measure it. Right? People say things like, well, you're looking them in the eye and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking like, what a bunch of just, I don't know, like feel good sort of stuff. And so for me, you can list all the different reasons why Facebook Live's great, human connection and all that. My thinking is from like a online business point of view, it keeps you in touch. You can list all the reasons you want. That's the number one thing. So Facebook live streaming, great for building your audience because you can Facebook live stream, and I think you should do it at least once a week. Just a real quick, 5-minute thing. You could do it on your phone, but there are better ways as well, which we show you in our video sales tactics course. But if you run these Facebook live streams on somewhat of a regular basis, then the people who are fans of your fan page, people who've liked your fan page, they kind of stay engaged, stay in contact, and then when you Facebook live stream over and over again, it'll show to their friends. If somebody shares it themselves or they leave a comment, their friends will see that as well. And if you keep doing these on a regular basis, then it's a way to stand out. Again, because most people are too afraid to do it, or they're not going to spend the couple of minutes to figure out what exactly is involved. Well, let me just tell you what's involved right now. First of all, you can live stream right from your phone. Right from any smartphone, Android or iPhone. There's the Facebook app. You can go to your own timeline. You can click on a button that says live, and there you go. Now you're broadcasting live. And what you can do is, instead of writing a big long blog post, you can talk about what's on your mind, or a problem that needs solving, or a question that someone has. There's no shortage of questions. And even if there's a question that you think is silly or answered to death, if you still see the question being asked over and over again, it doesn't matter how silly the question seems to you, you should be answering it. And it's really tempting to answer the advanced, the fancy stuff, but people are always asking about sort of those beginner questions, and you need to get better at being on camera and just kind of talking off the cuff like you do. And if you don't, and even if you think you're great at that, if you stop doing it, then you fall out of practice with it. So it's a great way for all those reasons. And my big thing is, from both a buyer and a seller, is it puts you in front of the camera all the time. So you can use your phone to do it, but what's the problem with that? Well, the problem is that the camera is shaky, the angle's always weird and bad, you don't have a recording, you can't show your screen, and it's great for your first couple, but it's not long term. Because I've seen so many people where they've tried to do things like they've tried to be on camera on one phone and then hold their phone in front of the camera, and I can never see what's going on. Or I've seen people take their phone and they're live streaming from it, and they go to the computer and they turn the phone to face the monitor, and I can't make out a thing that's happening on the monitor. So how do you become fancier? How do you do one of these Facebook live streams that maybe you show your face, and then after a couple of minutes, it switches to something on the computer screen, or it switches to the computer screen, but now your face is down in the corner. That way people can see both. Did you know that you can also record your Facebook Lives for later to put on YouTube, or you can even take any recording that you had before and play it out on Facebook Live as if it was live? And this could be an old live stream. You can live stream one day and then rebroadcast it the next day. But even if you prepared some other video, you can just play out that whole video across Facebook Live. You can mix and match things. So this means if you have a video clip, like you want to show a quick demo, and again, a video clip can be a number of different things. A video clip can be a bunch of testimonials, or like your speaker reel, or showing some of your best stuff. A video clip can be you showing something on the computer, demonstrating a piece of software, And maybe you want to do things where, like, you want to make sure the demo works every single time. So you want to hop on a Facebook live stream and talk a little bit and say, let's go to the demo, and just click the play button. That way, wherever you are, that demo plays, and then you switch back and you ask for questions. That's also possible in Facebook Live, and you can even broadcast multi-person interviews. So you can call someone on this online telephone calling thing called Skype, and you can broadcast with your face and with their face, and you can ask questions, or they could share stuff, and that is broadcasted right there live on Facebook. And you can get even super crazy and on Skype do a multi-person call, or have multiple web cameras, or even like a Facebook Messenger, a group video chat, and all this is possible with Facebook Live and in our video sales tactics course. So that's all great for me to say what's possible, and that's all great for me to say, well, go and buy this course. But what exactly is involved? Well, let me tell you. The first thing is that in our course, we show you how to install a free piece of software that will broadcast out to your Facebook timeline, to any Facebook page you have, and even any Facebook group you have. Technically, you can live stream into someone else's group. Usually that's not allowed, although we have a special group at videosalestactics.com/group where you can live stream into that as your test. And technically also, you can live stream onto someone else's Facebook wall, which is sort of interesting. But those are your possibilities there, is that you can live stream onto your wall, page, group, or a friend's group or page. All right. Usually, what I like to do is I have a Facebook fan page for myself, Robert Plank, for my business, and I will live stream onto that page, and then I will click the share button on Facebook. You know how you can share things? I will share that live stream on my own Facebook wall and in our Facebook group. And the reason for that, the reason for live streaming on a page and then sharing it, is so that way I just live stream one place, it shows up everywhere else. And then once you live stream on a page, you can later on run ads to that live stream, right? So that means that you can then target anyone who likes Tony Robbins, who then watch your Facebook live stream after the fact. Or my current favorite thing to do is a boosted post. So you post something onto your fan page, your Facebook fan page, and then you can click a button to what's called boost the post. And you can say for $5 or $10 that let's say that you're a local business, or you're helping out a local business. And actually, I've seen things like this around town where some yoga studio live streamed for 10 minutes, and they just kind of showed these interesting classes that they were putting on. So let's say that you were helping out some local business, some local yoga studio. You live stream for 5 minutes, kind of showing some stuff, explaining what's going on, and maybe even say, like, here's the address, here's the place to go. And then you can boost that post so that anyone in that city or anyone within a 10-mile radius, then they get shown that Facebook live stream. And they won't all get shown it. It depends on how much money you put in there, and some of them usually they'll get shown like one time or so, and it'll just appear in their news feed and as they're scrolling through as one of the things that they do. And then my favorite thing as far as the Facebook ads and the boosted posts is, this might be a little kind of technical, but Facebook allows you to place what's called a pixel or a cookie on your site, called a retargeting pixel. So they say, put this thingy on your site. If someone comes to your site, then the advertisements will follow them around on Facebook and elsewhere on the internet. Haven't you ever been looking at like a piece of clothing or a book or some gadget on Amazon, then you left on Facebook, and now that ad's following you all around? Well, that's called a retargeting pixel. And so, and you should put these pixels on all of your websites. And, I used to do some retargeting and stuff like that and say, okay, well, anyone who's gone to any of my websites in the past 6 months, I'll run an ad to them. And that worked sort of okay. But then I began playing around with advertising to anyone who has been on my site within the past 7 days. Any of our sites, like Video Sales Tactics, Backup Creator, Membership Cube, anything like that, robertplank.com, anything. And so these people who've been on my site within the past week. That's a super, super hot target. But then to add an additional twist here, and I'm probably going too far off the rails here. That's okay though. I will run a boosted Facebook post to this audience of people who've been on one of my sites in the past 7 days, but this is what's called a lookalike audience. So it looks at the people who've been on my site in the past 7 days and says, well, what do they all have in common? Are they all a similar age, location? Do they like certain do they have certain Facebook interests all in common? Like, do they all like Aweber, HostGator, WordPress, Infusionsoft, ClickBank, PayPal, things like that? And then based on all that, we'll find another audience of people who are very, very similar to your people who recently visited your site in the past 7 days. So it's this 7-day pixel lookalike audience boosted post on a Facebook Live video, if that's not too crazy for you. So anyway, that's where I like to stream onto a page. And how do you do it? Well, it's first of all, you get this free piece of software. It runs on both Mac and PC, and you assemble what are called scenes. So in our video sales tactics course, we show you how to assemble these scenes. And so one scene, just to give you an idea, is just the web camera out of your computer showing yourself. And this is great because there's no more shaky camera. It's just still on you. You can put your ring light behind the computer, stuff like that. And I like to add some text layers. I like to add a text on that has my name, maybe my website, and I can just click and I can turn that on or off as we're live streaming. And I can just show my face, talk a little bit, click the button, and then have my URL web address link on the bottom of that video. We show you how to make a scene that shows your computer desktop. So that way you can say, here's me talking about this concept. Let's switch to the screen and let me pull up Facebook itself or a piece of software like Photoshop or a web browser. Let me demonstrate the thing that I'm going to show you. And we have a scene in this software to play back a video. So again, if you want a live stream, a whole video playback, like what I'll do, again, another advanced thing is I'll run a webinar. I'll go to webinar promoting a product for about an hour or so, showing some cool stuff, selling some cool stuff, and I'll have my web camera enabled. So I'll use Camtasia Recorder for this. I'll record my screen, I'll record my web camera, and then after I'm done with the webinar, I'll go back and I'll edit things to have my picture in the on top of the PowerPoint slide. Sometimes it'll enlarge and it'll show just my face, but I'll have this slickly, is that a word, slickly produced video, which I can then play back over Facebook Live. And again, you can mix and match all this sort of stuff. So you can stream onto a page, show just your face, switch to the desktop, play part of a video clip, and even switch to an interview. And then that interview is the final scene that we set up in this piece of software, where you can click another button and then call someone on, say, Skype, and then show your face and their face side by side. People hear both ends of the conversation broadcast over Facebook even as you record it. And then the steps are pretty much that. Well, first of all, you log into our members area, and we have a special web application where you click on the special link in the browser, and it'll bring up a pop-up. And I don't know of any other way to get this pop-up appear other than to use the web-based tool that we have. And this pop-up appears, and it first of all says, well, where would you like to live stream to? Similarly to where if you go to share something on Facebook, it says like you want to share this on your wall or on a page. So where do you want to live stream to? Your wall, a page, or a group, or someone else's timeline. And what we want to do is create our own fan page. If you know how to do that, it takes a couple of clicks, and then broadcast a Facebook Live on that fan page. That way you can then share it elsewhere. And what happens is after you choose where to live stream, right? You say on my fan page. Facebook says, great. Now, what is the title of your live stream? What do you want to say to get this to pop up on everyone's phone and to say, I'm sharing some sales copy secrets today, or I'm sharing some secrets about Facebook Live marketing or something. So you type in the title of your live stream, and then they give you a special code that you go back to your desktop software, again, PC or Mac, you go to and you paste in that code and you begin broadcasting, and there you go. Now it just broadcasts whatever is coming out of your computer, whether you switch to that scene that shares your web camera, your desktop, a played back video, any of that stuff. And then it's just a matter of doing this consistently, of just getting in the practice of if you have something to say or you want to give some kind of a reminder to just start live streaming. And I haven't really found a magical length for these live streams, and the reason for that is because on Facebook, let's face it, people are super duper distracted. So my thinking at first was the ideal length of time for a live stream was 3 to 5 minutes. Just hop on, say some quick stuff. I know that's what I like personally. But then, what was weird is some of these longer live streams, I would get more and more people, and I think the reason why the longer live streams got me more people on to watch and listen is because Facebook has a lot of drive-by people. And you're going to notice this as you live stream your stuff, is that you're going to see that you might start a live stream, get 5 or 10 people, and then it'll go up to like 12, down to 9, and like it changes every like a few times a minute. Because a lot of people are just kind of scrolling through, they stop for a second, but then they're on to the next thing. And that's just how Facebook is. But you can win because everyone else who's Facebook live streaming, they either can't do it, or they did it once and stopped, or they don't do it consistently. So it's important that any way that you can, you live stream on Facebook, and especially you do it just to get the content out there. It's okay to say the same thing more than once. In fact, people call that branding, right? So it's good for you to mix it up and to some days live stream from your phone, some days live stream from your computer, some days show something super helpful. Throw it to your desktop and show someone a quick step-by-step process. Other days, keep it on yourself, just on the web camera. That way you can tell people about what you've got going on or what's on your mind. And I think that the name of the game is just to stay in touch. You don't need to hit it out of the park every single time you live stream. You don't need to make sales every time you live stream. Just make sure that those people who are your best buyers, that you don't fall out of touch with them. And there's a bunch of ways to do that. And this is why you need to email consistently, podcast consistently. I'm even getting back into the mailing out the postcards again. Maybe I should do another podcast episode about that, about some of that postcard marketing. But Facebook live streaming is one of those thought leader activities, and it's a great way to appear on camera. Honestly, think that the more that you're on camera, the better. Not just because it makes you a better speaker and things like that, but the more people see you on camera, the easier it is to land some of these sort of joint venture opportunities, right? And whether that's speaking on stage or running a webinar or things like that, or even just getting someone to email for your offer, whatever it is, I think that any getting out of your comfort zone, any public speaking, any marketing is a step in the right direction for you. And even if you're not a thought leader, author, speaker, coach, if you have a local business, just show some of the interesting things that your local business is doing, and then get people to share that, run a boosted post to get everyone around town to see it. I think that you can't mess up with Facebook live streaming, and even if you do, you'll have another Facebook Live around the corner. And when you break down and you think about, if you ever had hesitations about Facebook live streaming, I guess you'd say, if you actually went through and broke down the problem into smaller, manageable pieces, why that is, I think you'd be surprised at the silly reasons you tell yourself why you're not Facebook live streaming. What are you worried about? Are you worried about someone's going to make fun of you, not buy from you, read from you? All that stuff doesn't matter. What you need to do is get on camera, get on Facebook Live, share some of your knowledge, and then just do this on somewhat of a regular basis. Our video sales tactics course shows you how to do all this. Just doing it on the phone is fine every once in a while, but it's not enough. And I think my biggest pet peeve about live streaming on the phone is that it's in a reverse image. So you try to write something down and no one can read it because it's in reverse. And even if you do write it down, you have to hold it on camera for like 30 seconds so people can get it. A way better way is to use video sales tactics. We give you the free software, the free broadcasting tool. You can broadcast from your web camera, show your screen, play back a video, have an interview, and stream to any wall, page, or group. You do it at videosalestactics.com. I'm Robert Plank. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the course. Have a great one.
Attention! It's time to make your computer work for you. If you struggled getting the most out of every day, getting your computer, your website, and your business to make you money while you sleep, please take a quick look at our book, The Checklist Mindset, www.checklistmindset.com.